steal our hope, to blind our eyes. He whispers fear, he wields the sword, but he cannot silence the living word. Every drop of blood becomes a seed, every broken heart cries out a creed. The gates of hell will not prevail, God's truth will stand, it will never fail. From martyrs to saints, their crowns are won, their witness shines like the rising sun. The enemy strikes, but heaven proclaims, the faithful are lifted, God knows their names. The apostles stood, though chains were near. They sang in prison, they cast out fear. And in our day, new voices rise. Charlie's faith still testifies. Every silenced word becomes a song, every trial proves where we belong. The Church of Christ cannot be destroyed, for death is swallowed up in joy. From martyrs to saints, their crowns are won, their witness shines like the rising sun. The enemy strikes, but heaven proclaims, the faithful are lifted, God knows their names. Will we bow to fear or stand unashamed? Will we hide the cross or bear his name? This is the hour, the choice we make.
Finding the right words to use for this song. I have you in mind, so it won't take so long. Love is that I find you, but you're here, and so I love you.
Good morning. Okay, guys. So I'm going to share a video today which talks about 5 feminine things you can do to change your life, okay? And I also have a graphic that you'll see in the same video that says the 5 feminine archetypes. Now, I spoke about this briefly once upon a time, that I have found that there is 5 like feminine characteristics that really sum up every single encounter you may ever have with a woman, okay? Some of them will be one solid, some of them will be a blend of each other, but there's 5. And I've noticed this because of how many times I've watched so many movies, TV shows, even like read books, and I love to read, you guys know this. And every single time I see the pattern of 5 different feminine archetypes. So I put them into a generalization so that you could see which archetype you could be. So next week, there's 5 days next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to go over one of the 5 feminine archetypes each day next week. I'm going to break down each one specifically, and then you can see for yourself how amazing this is. Now, I gathered these archetypes from books, not specifically any kind of like TV series or movie, but you can definitely see which one of the archetypes is basically in any movie or TV show that you may watch. You might recognize and be like, oh, that's the gardener, or oh, that's the phoenix, or oh, that's the That's the blind woman with sight, you know? So you'll be able to see the archetypes in each one. And then you'll also be able to map which one you are. Now, I'm 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 solidly with a tiny hint of uh, the gardener, and I, I would have to say that I'm mostly the phoenix with a tiny dash of the gardener, the faithful, the one who holds the faithful flame, and yeah, I think that's it. I'm a bit of those. For one, when I fall in love, I am very, very loyal, and I'm very, very stuck. So there's no way of me like wandering off to someone else. Um, I'm very, very loyal. So that's where I get the a bit of the one with the one who holds the faithful flame. That's where that comes from. I have that strong, solid, enduring love. You know what I mean? Um, but like I said, next week we'll go over each one. I'll break them down very, very detailed. I got all of the details worked out. And so we'll go over one each day, and then you guys will see. And not just the fact that I mapped out 5 different feminine archetypes, but the fact that my name, my literal name, is a, like a foreshadow of who I am as one of the feminine archetypes. It was like a foreshadowing, you know? You guys know that the name that my mother gave me comes from the root word Anastasia. Anastasia means resurrection. Now, I have recently changed my name, kept the root word resurrection, but changed my name to a different sound so that I'd be more comfortable hearing my name. You know what I mean? But and I didn't want to have my name as just resurrection. Like, could you imagine like me introducing myself? Hi, I'm Resurrection. Nah. So I found a sound that sounds like me. That's soft, ordinary, you know, not super like out there. Um, the whole word is shinsei, but I shortened it to shy. When, I hope my microphone's on, when I change my name eventually, what's going to happen is I'm going to have it written shinsei or shinsei, sorry, shinsei, but socially, you guys can just call me shy, like just just like that. How it's spelt is different than what the English shy would be spelt. It's Shiai. So that's shy. And it's the same word. It's resurrection just in Japanese. So there you go. And yeah. Anyway, next week there's 5 days. Each day of the week I'm going to be going over one of the 5 feminine archetypes. I will share some of their characteristics with you in the meantime in my stories. I'm even going to do a blog series about each one specifically, and it'll discuss things like what kind of like uh, occupation would be best suited for each archetype, the characteristics of that archetype, and just how you would like how the person would present themselves to you, and how you could recognize each archetype based off of the way that the mannerisms, the way that they talk, blah 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 blah. I'll do a huge deep dive, okay, into each one. And each day next week I'll post the blog plus the discussion that we'll have on each of the 5 feminine archetypes. So that's next week. I have to prepare for that. So yeah. And you guys know that Friday evening to Saturday evening, I am nowhere to be found. I have my Sabbath, right? So be aware of that there won't be any postings on Saturday. Sunday, I may post here and there to remind you that the 5 archetypes is coming up on Monday through Friday. And yeah, that's that. And we'll be discussing a lot more about femininity as the days go on. Other than that, what's going on, guys? How you doing? What's going on? I know I disappeared last night, but that's because I'm starting to feel nauseous in the evenings again. I think it's because of the heat. Honestly, I think it has something to do with like the weather changing. This happened to me last year too. I think you guys remember. I started feeling nauseous and dizzy in the evening when it started getting hotter, and then yeah, so that's basically what happened. I felt nauseous and dizzy, and I went to bed. So I think that we should probably assume that as it gets hotter, I'm going to have issues in the evenings until the cool weather starts rolling back in. So yeah, there's that. I know, terrible. What in the world, right? What in the world? I'll probably have to go see my doctor and get my labs done again. I just had my labs done a month ago, so I'll try to wait until June and then get my labs done again just to see if it's like my iron again. Last year it was my iron, so it might be my iron again from the hot weather. Anyway, I'm about to go take my morning medicines. Would you like to come along with me as I do that? And we'll discuss things as I'm getting it all set up and ready. By the way, you're going to hear a very loud noise when I get down the stairs. That is our AC. So last year we had the AC that was in the window, as you guys know. But this year, apparently that one died and it doesn't work anymore. So our landlord got us a new AC. And so it's a lot louder, but it's on wheels. So we can literally like pull it and like maneuver it so that it blows into the area of the living room or up the stairs or throughout the house basically. So it's interesting to say the least. Okay, after this runs out, all right guys, we're heading down the stairs. You're going to hear the loudness of the AC for just a tiny bit till I get into the kitchen. Good morning. All right. Now I got to find a cup. Perfecto. Cup. Spoon. Spoon. Good. Rinsey rinse. By the way, y'all, later when I do the time lapse, you guys are going to see I have one hell of a mess to clean up in the kitchen here. Oh. That should be fun. I said it sarcastically because, well, you know, it's a big mess. Bigger than yesterday, that's for sure. Alrighty, time to take my meds. Coffee's hot enough for me to have another one now. I think I'll wait. Alright, guys. Going back upstairs. Sorry, I'll turn off my alarm in a second. Just give me a moment. All right. There. I'm wearing my kimono house jacket. Well, it's a house kimono thing. You can wear it out in public too. It's not like it's strictly for the house, but I use it strictly for the house. Today is supposed to be super hot, and from what I just read, it's already 15 degrees outside. So, yeah. I'm glad we have the AC. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm getting my books that I'm going to be doing while I'm in my PTSD group. I'll be heading off of here soon because my group starts soon. Now, all right. Each one of the archetypes that I'm going to be writing down has a color. So, green, purple, pink, and then I'll have to choose whichever one for this one and that one. Oh, okay. Ugh. I'm going to go for now. I'll be back later, hopefully. I will give you a video to watch, and yeah, we'll discuss more about the 5 feminine archetypes very, very soon. All right, later for now, y'all.
Because you have to love you can't love another person when you don't love yourself.
Because a lot of women just wake up and it's like, I got to take care of everybody else, and there's no time for me.
One of the problems that a lot of us have is being kind without expecting anything in return.
Feminine women are thoughtful women.
It's a confidence booster when you're organized.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fascinating Womanhood channel. On our channel, we talk about everything that has to do with developing femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships. I am Cherry Lynn, and I'm here with... Hi.
Hi.
Today, we are tackling the topic of 5 feminine tips that will change your life. That will change your life.
A lot of women don't even understand what femininity is, let alone the power that women have as women, not masculine power, that can help us not only in our interacting with each other, but with especially with our relationships, particularly with men.
And I think this topic is all over the internet. I've seen so many YouTube influencers, Instagram influencers. A lot of the times when this topic is covered, it's all about appearance, which is great. We love talking about feminine appearance. But what we want to kind of dive into today is more of the whole package. And of course, there's far more than 5 tips, but these are our favorite 5 for us that we discussed. And then, of course, come from your book, Fascinating Womanhood for the Timeless Woman. You should definitely read if you haven't read it yet. So we'll just jump into the 5. First one is understanding the difference.
Men and women are not the same. In spite of what you hear, all of us intuitively know we're really quite different from each other. But when you interact with a man, understanding how they think and how they might approach a particular subject compared to yourself is important. And so what we kind of break that down sometimes into understanding, when you listen to him, understand what he means, not just what he says.
I think we live in a society where so many people think that men and women are either the same or they should be the same. And I think this one is about how we think differently. And this is so important, and it takes so long to learn. But learning to understand him is such a valuable tool on your journey to being more feminine.
You know, a lot of people wonder, let's say you get married and you're all excited and you're married the love of your life, and then things start to kind of gradually have problems. A lot of those problems are, for most people, I think, are not major. Like, he doesn't suddenly have an affair or something like that. What often happens is little things where you misunderstand each other and you end up in arguments, and those little things compound. So what we're trying to do to help in Fascinating Womanhood is to help you understand him so that those little things, those arguments, don't ever become either big or added to a whole list of more arguments.
Yeah, I love that you added that it doesn't always start out right away. You marry the love of your life, things are going great, and then usually it's kind of a gradual thing that happens where you don't understand each other. And like, why does that happen? Well, I think what we're trying to say here is that you just don't understand each other. And as you grow and build your life together, you learn more about each other, but sometimes you don't, with learning about them, you kind of don't really necessarily understand how they think. And that's that's the point we're trying to drive home here. And with each of these points today, we wanted to give an example on each one of what this might look like in your everyday. So for this first one, I'm going to share a recent example of why it's important to understand men. So my example is basically something that happens constantly in my family. My husband came home the other day, very grumpy, very tired, long day at work. I'm sure you can all relate to that. So after dinner, shortly after dinner, he kind of looked at the clock, as he usually does, and announced at 8 o'clock that it was time for the kids to go to bed. Well, it's summer right now while we're filming this, and we have an agreement in our family when it's summertime, the kids stay up a little bit later because it's kind of one of their things that they get to do. And I think, you know, he often forgets that when he's tired.
Right.
The reason why this is an example of understanding men is in the past, I probably, when I was a brand new mom, probably would have scolded him for that. But I was able to get myself into a room with him alone when this happened. I was able to talk to him about the importance to the kids of staying up late and having that balance. And we had a nice chat, really short, and I was able to kind of diffuse the situation and help him go to bed early and help the kids stay up. Now, again, I could have just gotten into a giant argument with him and been like, you know, you're breaking your promises and things like that. But I think part of understanding men is understanding their intent, I think, as you touched on earlier. Looking at this specific scenario, it's important to learn that, you know what, he's just tired. He's just stressed. He had a long day. Did I have a long day too? I actually did. Yes, I did have a long day, but it's not a competition. It's about what can I do to help this situation go smooth. Choose your battles. And understanding him, actually last night, the next day, he was actually a lot more sensitive to me and a lot sweeter to me. I didn't even expect it. And I'm not saying you're always going to get that as a result, but I think that's just an example
Right.
of understanding him in a really kind of small, subtle way that will make your marriage better, and it will make you feel like a more successful feminine woman.
Exactly. That's a really good example. Feminine women are more confident women, and when you're more confident, you're more charming. As you learn, if you get someone like you get your husband, like you did, you understand, like, I get him, I get where he's coming from, I get what happened. When you are able to get him, then that instantly makes you more charming. See, like you said, even though you had a long day, you can override some of that for the moment because of him. Like you said, it's not a competition. It's not like, well, I had a long day too, so I have more reason to go to bed than he does. When you understand him, it doesn't bother you so much.
You know, there's a lot of women out there that are hearing this and going, oh, well, if I should understand him, he should understand me. Well, that's true. He should understand you. But if you have a guy that doesn't understand you, and you refuse to kind of like take that first step to understand him, where does that leave you? Someone has to kind of lead the way. So what we're saying here is, if you can try to understand him first, eventually I really do think he will start to understand you. And it may take time, but but for me, I mean, it was even the next day in this scenario where I felt like, oh wow, last night was really paid off. He's really understanding tonight. He just needed that one night.
I've been married a lot longer than you, and I would say Bob doesn't understand me as well as I understand him, but it doesn't matter because
Yeah.
he's still sensitive to me. He still wants to please me, even if he doesn't totally always understand why. He still wants me to be happy, and that's the ultimate goal. Because
Yeah, and all the ladies out there that are struggling with this and feeling like, well, my husband doesn't understand me and I'm so frustrated, just try to look for those small things, like the tiniest things sometimes, and him understanding. It may not even be verbal, him, making extra effort. I think that is really key. We also wanted to touch on, I know you said that this makes you more feminine because it makes you more charming. When you get someone, you're instantly more charming. I love that. I also think too, if this is something that you want more help with, we actually have on our website as well as on our Amazon store a romantic journal that you can buy. And it's a really wonderful tool to help you understand your man. It's like a fill in the blank kind of style journal where you can record things about him that you admire, that you love, his favorite things. And this could be a really great tool that you could use to just help you learn to understand him better.
well, and also on those days when you're maybe frustrated with him, you can pull that out and look and remind yourself of why he's so amazing. And a lot of women get a blank journal and they start writing in it, but we've just got, like you said, fill in the blank. Plus it has parts in there where you can put his shoe size, his shirt size. So if you're looking for a gift, it's all right there, and it's small enough. If you don't have a tiny purse, you can put it in your purse.
Yeah, I have one and I love it, and it's filled out, and every once in a while I'll look through it if I'm having a hard time, and it really helps me. So
Yeah,
definitely
me too.
recommend you looking at that.
Yeah, we made it for ourselves. Just
Yeah.
decided other people might want some.
Okay, the second one is protecting your me time. What does this mean?
Me time is for those of us women who are so self-sacrificing that we don't always take enough care of ourselves. Some of us do, and we already do this, but time when you need to do something for yourself. And it isn't just like taking a bath or things like this. It may be a skin routine. It may be working out, exercising. It may be even something as simple as listening to your favorite music instead of putting on children's music, for example. And it isn't all day long. It's just those where you're actually showing self-love. And so that's why I say it's not necessarily for those of us who don't have a problem with that. But a lot of us do. A lot of us are so giving and so caring for our loved ones that we kind of put ourselves on the back burner.
An example of this for me is the simplest little things, like, because I struggle with this a lot, is just protecting time for even my doctor's appointments, my dentist appointments. Like, I don't know about you, but having small kids and just always being busy and they're in sports and all these things, I feel like I'm always doing their things or things for the house, for the family. And I think some women kind of wear that with a badge of honor, like, oh, I don't ever have time for myself. And they kind of like are almost subconsciously proud of it. And I think, that makes me kind of sad, because you really, you really do want to take care of yourself, and you want to be a good example to your kids that you take, we take care of you and I take care of me. And it may be as simple as those things, like you said, putting on music, getting a doctor's appointment, but this isn't about pampering, although it could be pampering. I think a lot of the messages out there about this topic of being feminine are about pampering. And I think that's great if you can do it. But the core here, I think that's constantly missing, is taking care of your well-being.
And it's also sometimes difficult. I mean, my kids are grown, yours are not. So for me, sometimes even now, it's hard for me to give myself permission to take a nap. And when I'm really tired, but there were times when my kids were young, I couldn't, even if I wanted to. What we've learned is that doing enough me time and self-care helps you be more confident, because you have to love you can't love another person when you don't love yourself. A person cannot love their children actually any more than they can love themselves beyond what they themselves have. So it gives you more.
Right. And I love that you touch on that, because at the end of each one of these points, I know we really wanted to touch on, well, why does this make you more feminine? And I think you just covered that really well. It makes you more confident. And if you think about your ideal goal of a feminine woman, or somebody you maybe admire that's really feminine, she probably, more than likely, is rather confident. Even if she's shy or introverted, she still has a level of confidence and self-esteem. And it's really difficult to have that and exude that if you're not taking care of some of those basic needs. And I know it's a challenge. I definitely get it. It can be so hard. Like you said, you have to give yourself permission to take a nap. Some of us might not relate to that, but I definitely relate to that. It's really hard for me to say, I'm going to give myself permission to do this for myself.
And again, it's some of us ladies don't have that problem, but a lot of us do. And I'm one of them. I think you're one of them. So I'm sure there's others of you who are like that as well.
Okay, the third one is spreading kindness. So I know you guys are probably hearing that and thinking it sounds a little obvious and cheesy, but we want to dig into this a little bit deeper, because it is just so, so important. It's one of those tips that we have that is more about the inside versus the outside.
A lot of us are nice, kind, we're polite to people, let them go in front of us in the line. But one of the problems that a lot of us have is being kind without expecting anything in return. By anything, I mean not even thank you. An example, somebody that I knew it was hard for me to feel like she liked me. I wanted her to like me, I think. And there was a situation where she was sick and her husband was busy. And I told Bob, I'd like to make her some bread and take it over there. And he warned me, he said, that's a great idea. But if you don't expect anything from her, not even thank you. Because if you do, then you'll have strings attached, and then you might be disappointed. You might be sad. I remember at the time I thought, yeah, you're right. And I'm glad he told me ahead of time, because when I did bring it to her, she actually didn't thank me, but I felt free because I decided beforehand I wasn't going to expect it. And that was years ago, but I've never forgotten that lesson. When you do something kind for someone without any strings, you're free. Then you don't think, well, I've been so nice to this person. I've done A, B, and C for them, and they've never returned the favor. Those are strings. And we don't really, the strings bind us.
How does being kind of going out of your way to be a little more kind, how does that make you more feminine? Because men can be kind, men can do this. How is this different for a woman?
Well, it increases your own happiness, your own self-esteem, and your ability to feel more like you can be the real feminine woman that you were born to be.
I feel like this one is important to men and women, but I think the biggest difference that I've learned from Fascinating Womanhood is that when men go out of their way to be kind and they have that great character building, it kind of almost makes them feel more competent. Whereas with women, I think you touched on it, women, it's more of a freeing thing. And I know that's kind of small, but it's actually kind of a big thing. And it's hard to describe and put into words, but I think all the women out there, if you're listening to this, you're probably going, yeah, you feel a little bit more free.
Well, in Fascinating Womanhood, we talk about femininity, we talk about understanding men, but one of the things we don't talk about as much that's really important is character. And being kind without strings attached develops your character. And the better character you have, the more feminine woman you will be.
And it doesn't have to be as big as the example you gave as baking someone bread. It could be significantly smaller than that. I think the key is whatever you're doing, you don't expect anything. That's the key.
Well, like you did the other night with your husband. You didn't expect him to notice what you did and thank you for it.
That's true. That's true.
It's like that.
Yeah. Okay, the fourth one is writing it down. What does this mean?
when you write anything down, whether it's a quote, great quote you heard or something, you have a much better chance of remembering it, even if you never look at that paper again, if you lose the paper or whatever. So writing things down helps to organize you. It's a confidence booster when you're organized.
I know a lot of people that don't like to keep lists and they're like, oh, I always remember everything. I think a lot of people might kind of shy away from this one in terms of productivity if you're really good at just remembering things. And I think that's great. But if you're not, writing things down, keeping daily lists really helps you to be more productive. It helps you to have, as they say, all your ducks in a row. I think that that's a feminine woman wants to be organized. They want to be productive. They want to get things done. But even if you are somebody that remembers things and you don't need to write them down, I still have to say writing down birthdays, special events, having those things. I mean, you can't possibly remember all that stuff. Maybe you can, but having all of those things written down is so key to being thoughtful. And feminine women are thoughtful women. And it doesn't mean you're perfect and you get everything right all the time, but striving to remember somebody's birthday or remembering a special day for them. I know my husband's grandmother passed away last year, and I put it in my phone in the calendar because that's what I use. I'm very, very I'm very dedicated to my phone calendar because it's really easy and it pops up for me. But I wrote that down in the calendar. It's coming up soon. And I reminded him, hey, I want to do something for your mother for the first anniversary of her mother being gone. Like things like that. It's hard to remember all those things. So if you have them written down, you're more likely to be able to do something about it. Having to remember it is exhausting, I think, at times. And I know with all my family schedules and everything going on, like I like to have everything written down. So I think it's important, even if you have it just in your phone, you don't have to physically write it, but type it. It will really keep you, like we said earlier, more organized, more productive, and feel ready for your day.
Well, you touched on something really important. I think it isn't just about lists of things to do. Probably, and that is important, but you don't want to miss appointments. But equally as important is women are the relationship leaders of this world, and remembering thoughtful things like people's birthdays or events or things like that. Not something you do, but something you honor with a person. I remember reading years ago that Princess Diana kept a stack of thank you notes and always wrote them. Physical notes, not a text. And she died before texting was really a huge thing like it is now. But keeping track of those things is part of our charm.
I think this could even be as small as you left to run an errand and you leave a little note.
Yeah.
It says, be right back. I like what you bring up about thank you notes, handwritten things, handwritten birthday cards, handwritten invitations to things. If you can, if you can, I think it makes you more feminine. Handwritten things represent warmth, and I think that's great. But when it comes to lists, I don't think it necessarily has to be handwritten. But I think those are the kind of the two categories that we wanted to cover. Okay, and then the last one is rise and shine. What does this mean? I know this is a big one for you. This was like the big one that you were like, we got to do that one.
Getting up and getting yourself organized and ready for the day. Some people bathe at night and some people bathe in the morning. And whenever you bathe, you get ready for the day. You make your bed and you're ready for the day. And it enhances your mood. It makes you feel more confident. And if you have trouble, get up maybe a half hour earlier. And that's hard when you've got babies that are up in the night. That's really hard. But I found that, especially with babies, if I didn't get ready and get ready in the morning sometimes I never did all day. And that just wasn't acceptable to me. I didn't feel, I mean, here my husband is in a suit and tie and I'm looking like a rag, and I didn't like that. I would never have gone on a date with him looking like that. It lowers my confidence if I don't feel like I'm ready. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I think this is a balance of internal and external. I think you've touched a lot on the external part and a little bit on the internal. Everybody has that different threshold of like, well, I don't need to have makeup on or I don't need to do this. That's fine. Whatever it is that helps you to feel ready for the day. And for me, that's skincare routine, brushing my hair, because in the morning I can't shower in the morning because I'm up early with kids, like you mentioned. So I'm an evening shower because I work out in the morning too. But the point is that you have to make this work for you. You're making your bed. Right. I think you touched on that. There's so many studies on how important that is to starting out your day right. It's not just about how the bed looks. It's an internal thing as well. really having kind of like a routine, I think, is what this is about in the morning that helps you feel ready to tackle the day. And whatever that is for you, you need to decide what that is for you. But I hope that it includes you taking care of yourself in addition to taking care of others. Because a lot of women just wake up and it's like, I got to take care of everybody else. And there's no time for me. And there's no time, like, there's not even a mental consideration for yourself. It's all about everybody else.
And some of that is when you break it down, is actually habit, what you get used to doing. And so you have to deliberately break that habit. For example, I heard I think it was a general years ago. He said, if you're going to conquer the world, you got to start out by making your bed. Whatever you're going to do, at least do that. It helps you to be more feminine because a daily routine for yourself boosts your confidence, boosts your self-esteem. And then if you're ready for the day, whether that includes makeup or not, it obviously is going to include doing something with your hair and taking care of yourself, wearing deodorant, all those basic kinds of things. You're going to be more confident when a challenge comes up, when say something breaks and you have to run out and do something. You're going to be more confident than if you feel like you look like a bum off the street. And all of us feel like, oh no, someone came to the door and I look so terrible.
Right. I think there's going to be bad days. There's going to be days where you fail at this, especially if you have small children. I know there's days where I didn't even get a second to brush my teeth until it's almost lunchtime. And I'm just like, what happened?
Yeah.
But the goal here isn't to be perfect. The goal is to strive to have a routine, and everybody's routine is different. So just what's your routine? Make sure it includes something that has to do with taking care of yourself as well.
And compare the difference. When you do get ready, compare how you feel as compared to when you don't brush your teeth till noon. And when you do, you can work towards, I like the way I felt when I felt attractive at 9 o'clock in the morning instead of like, yeah.
Right. All right, that's our list. If you have anything that you want to add that are big tips for helping you feel feminine, we'd love to hear from you down below. And please let us know that you're watching by hitting subscribe and like. It really helps our channel grow, and you can hit those buttons for us. And if you haven't read Dixie's book, Fascinating Womanhood for the Timeless Woman, we're attaching that link for that book down below. You definitely have to check that out, along with our entire book library. It will all be attached to this video. We also have a link attached for Dixie's master classes on this video. They were just released. There are 12 lessons that help you learn more about discovering your femininity and building strong, long-lasting, loving relationships in your life. Her master classes were filmed professionally. It's over 9 hours of content that you can watch and listen and learn from. And that'll be, as I said, attached to this video as well.
ultimate sign. Love poured out, eternal divine. He showed us the way, the cross to embrace, to live as his own, unashamed by his grace. In a culture of death, we choose to speak life with faith unshaken. With courage we rise. The enemy trembles when truth resounds. For what God has anointed, he has crowned. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. I see it in Erica, I saw it in him. A faith unbroken, light that won't dim. Living examples of truth proclaimed. The legacy burns in Jesus' name. This is the moment, hell's gates shake like Christ's own blood for our soul's sake. Death defeated, our path is clear. God's kingdom advances, his reign is near. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. Husbands and wives in covenant stand. Children of promise held in his hand. Turning points fire, a torch reborn. In Christ's own power, new saints are born. God endowed, God crowned. Every faithful life is heaven bound. His glory shines, his truth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. We will not be shaken, we will stand our ground. Heaven's witness, earth resounds. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. God endowed, God crowned. They told me I was outdated, just a shadow of the past. Said long skirts and shawls don't shine, they'll never last. But I don't dress for fashion shows or this world's fleeting.